Good morning, dear souls. Welcome back to the Namaste experience. I'm so happy that I could join you here this way. So I want to spend a few moments today with a book by Marguerite Porete. Now, many of you will remember that my book, The Annihilated Self, was based in part on her book, which is called The Mirror of Simple Souls. This is Marguerite here. Marguerite was a Beguine mystic in the late 13th century and early 14th century. And her book, The Mirror of Simple Souls, was such an awakened experience for her that even under the threat of being executed, which she was, she could not step away. When the light is so bright within us, there's no way of denying that which we know with a capital K. Not to what we think we know, but to truly know something, to truly know love. But it begins, as we've said many times, understanding that we do not know God. This may sound very strange to the egoic mind because it's always trying to convince you that yes, you do know God. In fact, the God that you know is really the you that you don't know. The you that you've claimed in separation. The you that you've claimed in competition. And so we end up creating a God that is more like our own illusions than we do of the divine presence itself. So the experience of realizing that we do not understand, that we do not know God, is the beginning of stepping into a higher spiritual maturity. So I want to read a little bit from this book, and then we're going to talk about it. So Marguerite is writing first from the perspective of the character of love, who says, "Now this soul has finally arrived at understanding of the greater part." What is the greater part? The greater part, of course, is the experience of being united fully with love. Not the intellectual idea, but the full experience of it. And this is what we talk about every day at Namaste Village. It's always about the experience. You can have an intellectual understanding, or at least think you have an intellectual understanding of many of these things, but unless it is mirrored through our deeper understanding of love itself, not as a concept, but as a reality, knowing with a capital K, it means nothing. And that's what she's referring to, understanding of the greater part. She goes on to say, but only in the sense that she, or the soul, understands nothing of God. When you come to realize that you know nothing of God, this is the first step. It's the step out of the illusory world to what A Course in Miracles would call the borderland experience, where you're able to now see everything in a different way, and the realization that you know nothing of God within the intellectual sense is the beginning of a greater knowing with a capital K of love and of God in a real sense. And she goes on to say, but only in the sense that she understands nothing of God compared to the whole of God. She realizes the whole of God, and that understanding, thinking we understand God, is really nothing at all, but a block to that wholeness. And then, of course, reason steps in, as it so often does, and says, ah, dear, does one even dare call nothing a thing which is of God? Can nothing be of God? And then the soul steps in and says, whatever might be given us or will be from him is indeed nothing, something that we feel we lack. If there's something that God gives to us which we think we somehow lack, then we've really received nothing at all. Truly, suppose that God gives us what is mentioned above, and if this were true, still it would be nothing compared to the one soul spark of God's goodness. The one soul spark of God's goodness, which remains in his understanding beyond our understanding. That single spark is enough to light up the vision of reality itself. I've often used the example of being in a very dark room our entire lives, and we touch all the different things in that room, and we we misinterpret what everything is. The couch is some strange creature and a bookshelf is a dragon. But if the window were somehow open and a flash of lightning came, and just in that holy instant we were able to see that it's really just a couch or a bookshelf, then there would be no reason to be afraid. And this is the experience. It's that one spark of love, of reality, that lets us see that until now we've known nothing of God. We only thought that we knew based on our ideas about ourselves, the lack, all the ideas that the ego claims. And it's only when we allow this experience to take hold that we can say, I now know love. So that's going to give you all something to chew on. I'll be curious to watch this recording later to see what Penny, Honey, and Vicky want to share about it. And I'm on my way to Chicago. I'm actually in the air as you guys are gathering, flying there, and I'll be back with you live on Thursday. So I'll see you then.